on the north side. Is it this north side? I think it's the south side, actually, of Chicago. I don't know my Chicago geography, never been there. In any case, we're in Chicago by way of Shrewsbury Township, New Jersey, for a game or two, or perhaps three or four, depending on how fast we move, between the Chicago White Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. On the mound for Chicago in the game one is Tom Seaver, and on the mound for Baltimore in game one is Mike Flanagan. This is part of the 1984 Community Replay Project. You may hear sounds in the background you can't identify. Just rest assured, here on the south side of Chicago by way of Shrewsbury Township, New Jersey, there's dogs, there's wives. Stuff happens. But we're still going to have some fun, play some baseball, and try to get this set up. So give me a second. See if I can get a good setup here. I think we need a little more distance. I think I'm taking it off horizontal when I do that. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll work. So we're going to play some payoff pitch for the 1984 project as I finally return to this project after quite some time. Going to get it all set up here. Get my laptop on the right screen so I can see what the hell I'm doing. Make sure I have decent chat. It's kind of weird. Little adjustments. Will I go too far? I might have gone a little too far. Let me just go this way a little bit. Maybe I just need to come out here, and then that's going to be too close. So nothing's going to work the way I want it to. We're going to get it as close as we can for a reasonable setup. Well, that's terrible. Give me a minute. You would think you would get this set up ahead of time, Joe. No. No, that's not it. What if we just move everything over a little? Please hold. And we do this. They're probably in the car, babe, but I'm streaming. And we do this. And bring it back this way a little. We're going to achieve reasonability here. Well, we're getting closer here now. I'd say we're almost there. A little higher. That might be as good as we get. But I think it's pretty good. Because we can see the whole score sheet, right? We can see the ballpark card here in Comiskey. You can see Tom Seaver, who's on the mound, taking his warm-up pitches for Chicago, who are hosting this 4-game series. It's June 28th, 1984. And it's a little off. It's a very tiny tweak to everything. I want to go that way. Hope you guys are having a lovely Sunday. Oh, I think that's it, baby. I think that's it. And Comiskey's less important. We're going to take that out of play. Just to give you guys a clear view of what to focus on. I'm not my usual streaming setup, and I'm still figuring out a good one. We rearrange the house every year for the holidays, so we have a good place to put the tree up and everything. But I think this is about as good as we get. So if you're not familiar with the 1984 Community Project, it's a project I started a long time ago, and I have dropped out of for quite a while due to, frankly, work constraints. Same reason I stopped streaming for a while. But here we are. Big Rev Kev, what's up? Taking in for a second before heading off to church. We'll catch this in full later. Well, Kev, you might be still on when we get back. So there's a couple things I'm going to do today. I'm going to see if I can do the entire series in one stream. First of all, I've got all 4 games set up, thanks to the score sheets from Digi Dugout. I've made some notes of the current stats going into the series for the project, and I was kind of inspired by a long time ago. Somebody asked me, I think it was actually on one of Jeffrey Guterman's streams in the early morning. I think I was streaming on a Sunday. I think he was streaming on a Sunday, and I was watching, and he was playing his first game of the day, and he was thinking about doing a second. And I said, "Well, I'm on my eighth my eighth game of the day, and I was playing my payoff pitch 1973 replay at the time." And he said, "8?" And I said, "Yeah, on Sundays I usually do anywhere from 14 to 20 games. This is when I had a lot more time to stream, a lot more time to play. But yesterday or the day before, I was watching some old YouTube videos. I was just looking for something to watch while I was doing some work, and came across a Gilles Thibault stream where he showed how he plays quickly through Master Game APBA series in his replays. He was doing a 2007 American League, if I'm remembering right, replay. And he had already played 2 games in the series, but he played 2 games in pretty quick succession on stream. I think it took him probably 35, 40 minutes to play 2 games. So probably not going to be quite that quick, but my plan here is to sort of breeze through these the way I usually do. It'll be a little slower since I'm streaming, and we'll have some fun, especially with the first game, calling out where these guys are as we're head toward the end of June and into July in this project that a bunch of people have participated in, but largely Kevin Thomas and Joe Cards have kept moving in my absence. Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate that. Hoping to get back and at least get a series a weekend and do some streaming on the weekends to start contributing to this project again. Yeah, I'm going to see if we can get through at least 2, and we'll see how it goes at that point. Possibly 3 or 4. It's a 4-game series. If we can get the whole series in one stream, that'd be pretty cool. And I just realized I'm at 299 subscribers, so thank you, everybody. That'd be really cool to click over to 300 during the stream if that happens, but no big deal if it doesn't. It's not what we're here for. I just like sharing the hobby, contributing to the YouTube presence for tabletop gaming, and just having some fun. So anyway, now that I told you what the hell I'm doing and why I'm here, for those of you who don't know, my name is Joe, and this is JC Sports Replays, where we play sports games on stream. Mostly baseball, if you've probably noticed. And this is the 1984 Community Project. If you're not familiar with it, look it up on Facebook. You can go over there, join in. The premise of the project is that you can play any game of your choice as long as it's statistically viable, meaning it's got to be an accurate sim. So people play Stratomatic, APBA, payoff pitch, inside pitch, replay baseball. I think some pocket pennant run is snuck in there, although that one's, depends on which version of the game you play. I know the first version wasn't exactly statistically accurate, but for purposes of a project like this, I think it's fine. I think people have played a few PC games, but it's mostly been cards and dice. I would not recommend a game like, what's the one that people use as a era simulator, the PC game, I can't even think of it. Oh, Out of the Park. Not really made for this kind of project. We're trying to keep it within the realm of statistical viability. So speaking of stats, let's look at our starting lineups as Baltimore visits Chicago in the project. Baltimore doing considerably worse than in real life. They're in real life they were a slightly above 500 team at this point. In the project, they're 31-45, and they're 21 and a half games back in the American League East. Chicago playing slightly better than they did in real life. They're at 35 and 40 on 14 games back, so two teams going nowhere fast. The Orioles will send a lineup that looks like this. It's John Shelby in center, 205, 2 homers, and 8 RBIs so far. Mike Young will play in right field. He's batting 257, 13 homers, 30 ribbies. The shortstop is Cal Ripken, probably on his way to an all star appearance, which we were just talking about. We'll have another stream about that, I think. Ripken is 336, 11 homers, 49 RBIs thus far. Eddie Murray will bat cleanup and play first base, batting 316, 14 homers, 42 ribbies. Wayne Gross sneaks in at third base, batting just under 200 at 199, 8 homers, 24 ribbies. Kenny Singleton, the designated hitter, 231, 7 and 23. In left field, Gary Renicky batting seventh, 211, 5 and 20. Rich Dower, the second baseman, 258, 3 homers, 20 RBIs. And doing the catching today is Floyd Rayford, 250, 2 homers, and 13 ribbies. On the mound for Baltimore, it's Mike Flanagan, who's not off to a good start. In real life, Flanagan had a very good season. A solid season, 13 and 13, 3.53. Thus far in the project, he's been less than spectacular. A 3 and 9 record, a 6.15 ERA. And this Orioles lineup will be facing Tom Seaver. Tom, terrific. 39 years old in his latter years. I think he plays for a couple more years. I think he plays through 86. But so far in the project, a respectable 7 and 5 is Tom with a 4.40 ERA. And in the field behind Tom Seaver, at first base it'll be Tom Paciorek, second baseman for Chicago Scott Fletcher, the shortstop Jerry Dubinsky, and at third Vance Law. Over in left field it's Ron Kittle, in center field Dave Stegman, and in right field it's Harold Baines. Doing the catching is Mark Hill, and without further ado, we'll take a sip of seltzer. Black cherry. Actually, I think this is raspberry something.
Cranberry lime.
Cranberry lime, there we go. A little cranberry lime non-alcoholic seltzer. And we will listen to the umpire say play ball. I am not a fact guy. If you're a payoff pitch fan, I use the dice. And I'll roll them and let you know what the results are as we go. But I'm going to move through this with relative alacrity. So here's Shelby leading things off. Seaver with the pitch. 11, defense 83. So we have a defense check that's going to be possible error on the shortstop. Reroll is a 26. So if you don't know how it works, the best possible fielder, the errors are rated based on fielding in payoff pitch. So a 1 to 29 with the best possible fielder is still an error. So that'll be an error on the shortstop. And Shelby will reach on the E6. So Shelby's on. His auto steal is a 4. And he will have an auto steal attempt. So he's a B. The catcher, Hill. Let's see. Mark Hill's arm is a 3. So B3, and we've got a 55 on the die roll. B3 55 is going to be safe. So Shelby steals the base. So Shelby in scoring position very quickly. No outs. Shelby at second, and here's Mike Young coming up. That's a 206 ballpark. 06 is going to be a wheelhouse chance for Young against the right-handed Seaver. And a 30, and home run 1 to 51. Mike Young with a 2-run home run, his 14th of the year. And just like that, the Orioles are on top, 2-0. So Baltimore turning things around. Here's Ripken having a very solid season thus far. Nobody out. 5:09 in play, and a line drive, a base hit into left for Cal Ripken. So Seaver not off to a good start. Steals a 1. I believe that's a 2 the first time he's on, and then nothing after that. So he will occasionally, very, very occasionally, try to steal a base. He had 2 in real life. He does not get the lead here. And Seaver is ready to pitch to Eddie Murray with Ripken on first. They'd love a double play here. 7:53, tough. And 53 is ground ball down to third. It's going to be a double play. No, they're going to go the short way, get Ripken at second, 5-4, and Murray reaches on the fielder's choice. Auto steal 2 for Murray. Nothing doing as Seaver steps off and looks the slow-footed Murray back. Here's Wayne Gross with 1 out, man on first. 10-04, that's a patient, and 04 is a walk for Gross. So first and second with 1 out here. I'm a little slower because it's not my usual setup, and I usually don't keep score by hand anymore. I usually use Middle of the Diamond for everything, but the score sheet's here for you. Here's Kenny Singleton, runners on first and second, 1 down. That's ballpark 06. That's going to be a wheelhouse chance for Singleton. 69 is hit hard on the ground toward short. It's going to be fielded by Dazinski over to Fletcher and on to first, a 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. But the 2-run homer by Mike Young puts Baltimore on the board. They lead 2-0. We'll head to the bottom of the first. Flanagan takes the mound. Mike Flanagan, as we mentioned, not off to his best start ever. 3-9, 6.15, and he will face a lineup that looks like this. In center, it's David Stegman, 183, 2 homers, 4 ribbies. Batting second, third baseman Lance Law, 266, 12, and 44. How many homers did Law hit in real life? He only hit 17, so he's way ahead of schedule here on the season. Batting third, Tom Pishorik. He's playing first, 265, 2 homers, 10 RBIs. In left field, Ron Kittle, always a power threat, 247, 14, and 34. The designated hitter, Lazinski, 196, 5, and 20. In right field, having a very good season, the possible only Chicago All-Star, at least on the batting side, Harold Baines, 320, 14 homers, 43 ribbies. The catcher, Mark Hill, 234, 2, and 9, bats 7th. Batting 8th, Scott Fletcher at second, 215, 4, and 20. And Dubinsky, the shortstop, 291, 0, and 6, rounds out the lineup. So it's Stegman to lead things off, righty against the lefty Flanagan. It's a 5.92 in play, and this one's a fly ball to left field, handled by Renicky, 1 down. There's Vance Law, 5.84 in play, ground down to short, and Ripken over to first, where Murray steps on the bag for the second out. Bishurik is a 6.74 in play. Lefty fly ball to center, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Flanagan. We'll head to the second. I might need something to eat. A little shaky. You okay, babe? Oh, leading off the second is Renicky. It's a 4-12 patient, and a base on balls for Renicky. Steals a 2, nothing doing. How about a 12.53 ballpark chance? That's going to be a wheelhouse chance for Dower. 55, no power there. G5, that's a 5-3. Dower out at first, Renicky to second with 1 out. Here's Rayford. $11.27 defense check. And be arranged in center field. The center fielder Stegman. 06, that's going to drop in for a base hit. And Renicky will score. Makes it 3-0. Rayford with a RBI single. And it's 3-0 Baltimore. Rayford won't be stealing. Here's John Shelby. 7.27, tough, and strikes him out. Second out. So Shelby's down. 2 down now. Runner on first. Here's Mike Young, who homered in the first. 10.05, patient, and Young will walk. As Seaver is careful with him. That'll make it first and second with 2 down now for Cal Ripken. 10.51, patient, and this is going to get into the gap for a 2-base hit. Rayford is around third. He will score. They're waving Young home. He's in ahead of the throw. The throw's cut off. A 2-run double for Ripken, and it's 5-0 Baltimore here in the early going. Seaver in trouble. And with 2 outs, here's Eddie Murray. 693 is tough, and this one is lofted out toward left. Should be in range, and Kittle makes the catch. But Baltimore adds 3 more. And Seaver trails 5-0. The White Sox will come up with 4, 5, and 6 to try to make it up. It's Kittle to lead things off. 7-10. Kittle down on strikes. That's a tough pitch from Flanagan. 1 away. Here's Lazinski. 383. Wheelhouse, but way too high. Grounded hard to short. Ripken takes his time over to first. Lazinski retired for the second out. Here's Harold Baines. 881. Patient, and this one is lofted out to center. And taken in center field by Shelby. And that's a 1-2-3 inning. So after 2, it's 5-0 Baltimore. Seaver coming out, but bullpen is warming. No Seaver will face Gross, Singleton, and Renicky. Here's Gross. 843, tough pitch, and that's a base hit up the middle. Tough pitch by Seaver, but Gross fights it off. 5-run lead, no more auto steals until we get back within 5, if we do. Here's Singleton. 873, tough pitch. Lofted to center, 1 away. Gary Renicky. 731, no wild pitch. Down on strikes is Renicky for the second out. A 753, tough pitch again. This one grounded down to third. Over to first in time to retire Dower. So 1 hit, 1 left. Seaver settles down, and it's still 5-0 Baltimore. We go to the bottom of the third. Flanagan will face the bottom third. Hill, Fletcher, and Dubinsky. Here's Hill. 11:56. Defense check. Possible error on the second baseman, Dower. No error there, as we roll the 90 on the defense check. So grounder to Dower, and Hill is retired, 1 away. Sorry, the hit there, 5:43 in play. And this one's a line drive right at Dower, and he'll snare it to retire Fletcher. 2 down. 6:25 in play, and this one is popped up on the infield. Dower again. So Dower very active in the inning. Another 1-2-3 for Flanagan, who's trying to get his season back in order. He should not be that bad. And Seaver to start the 4th. 8:72, tough pitch. Lofted to center. And Rayford retired. 1 away. An 11:09 defense check. Range on the second baseman, that's Fletcher. An 11 on the range, that's going to be a base hit. Don't even have to check the card. And a single. A base hit for Shelby. So 1 on, 1 out. Here's Mike Young. 660, tough. And down on strikes is Young, 2 down. It's a 12-18 ballpark wheelhouse chance for Ripken. 87, a big roll. That's a ground ball to short. And that'll be the 3rd out. Ripken retired. So Seaver has settled down, gets through 2 now. 1 on, 1 left. And it's Flanagan to start against Stegman, the leadoff man. 8:04, that's Patient. And Stegman draws a walk. Here's Vance Law. 11:61, defense check. Possible error on the 3rd baseman. Law. And that is going to be an error. An 11 on the roll. So hit hard down to 3rd base. It's going to be fielded by, Gross. He fires over to first, and it skips past the first baseman on into right field. So Stegman will get on over to 3rd. The official scorer says a single and an E5. And Chicago showing some life. It's now second and third with nobody out. They'll play for the single out with a 5-run lead. Here's Tom Paciorek. It's a 338 wheelhouse chance. And that's a base hit into the gap. Cut off over in right field by Young. But Stegman will score, and Law is right behind him. And Chicago's on the board with a 2-run base hit by Paciorek, and now Otto steals it back. It's a 2 for Paciorek. Force has nothing doing, so nobody out. Man on first, 2 runs in. Here's Kittle. 5-18, that's an in-play base hit. Paciorek stops at second. First and second, nobody down. Here's Lazinski. 11-74, defense check, possible error on the shortstop. Ripken. Not going to be an error. It's going to be a fielder's choice, so they go 6-4 the short way. The throw not in time as Lazinski hustled down, and Murray had to pick that one. So it'll be first and third with 1 down for Harold Baines. Flanagan hoping for a ground ball here. 7-88. Tough pitch, and grounded out a second. They'll get 1, 4-6. The run will score. And Baines reaches on the fielder's choice and gets credit for an RBI. So a 3rd run in. Runner on first, 2 down. Here's Mark Hill, 9-47. Tough pitch. And this one's grounded down to first. Murray will take it himself. 2 in the inning. But Chicago decides to show up for this game. Flanagan gives up 3, and it's 5-3 as we head to the 6th. To the 5th. It'll be Murray, Gross, and Singleton. 6-64, tough pitch. Lofted out to right, no problem out there for Baines. There's 1 away. Here's Wayne Gross. 339, wheelhouse chance, and forget about it. Gross gets a hold of this one, and it is high, it is far, it is gone. The 9th homer of the season for Gross. And that's the 6th run against Seaver, which if you know payoff pitch baseball, that means he is fatigued, so we're going to pull him. So Seaver only goes 4 1/3, and we'll be able to close the line on him as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits, 6 runs. Let's see if they're all earned. That one's not. That one is. So 5 earned. 2 home runs, if you're wondering. Not a thing they're recording here. Walks and strikeouts. 1, 2, 3. 3 walks. Looking for Ks. 1, 2, 3 strikeouts. No hit by pitch. And no wild pitch receiver. So Tom Terrific is done early. It's 6-3 here in the 5th. And the White Sox will look for some long relief. Looks like they're going to go with Spillner, Dan Spillner, the right-hander. He'll come out. He's a long reliever for Chicago, according to payoff pitch. Just joined the team on June 22nd. Here's Singleton. 350. It's a right-hander. Ballpark wheelhouse here in Chicago, even for, he's a lefty, actually. So lefties hit very well in Comiskey, and that's a 16 home run. So Singleton greets Spillner with his 8th homer of the season. And it's 7-3. This one's getting out of hand quickly. Here's Renicky. 5-36, tough pitch. And a base hit for Renicky. His first hit of the day. What's the score? It's 7-3. Renicky might steal, or he might get picked. 0-6 against the hold of 5. I think he's in trouble. Oh, possible wild. What does that mean? Lower than the pitcher's E rating. It's on target. Otherwise, it gets past the first baseman. On target. But the runner is back safe. So Renke gets back. Very, very close play there. And here's Dower. Runner on first, one down. 9:36, tough pitch. And Dower pops this one up on the infield, handled by the third baseman, Law, and there's two away. What's up, Mike? I'm doing well. How are you? Just trying to cruise through this payoff pitch game. It's 7-3 here, top of the fifth. Good to see you, brother. So here's Rayford with 2 outs and a man on first. It's 10-20. Wheelhouse chance, and this one's into the gap. That's going to get down for a 2-base hit. Around third is Reneke. He will score. An RBI double for Rayford, and it's 8-3 now. Spillner quickly giving up 2 runs. Maybe he won't be going long. And here's John Shelby. 9:05. Tough pitch, and Shelby down on strikes. So that'll end the inning. But 3 more runs for Baltimore here in game 1 of this 4-game series, and they lead the White Sox in Chicago 8-3. How's everything, Mike? Go to the bottom of the 5th. Flanagan trying to turn his season around at almost the midway mark. Yeah, here's Fletcher to lead things off. 7:35. It's a tough pitch. And Fletcher fights it off, pops it over the shortstop, and that'll drop in. So Fletcher's on. Here's Dubinsky. 6:28 in play, and this one popped up on the infield. It'll be caught by the second baseman Dower for the first out. Here's Stegman. 9:25, tough pitch, and down on strikes. Down on strikes is Stegman, second out. Here's Vance Law, 9:57, tough pitch, and this one will be lofted out to right field, where it's handled by Young. So 1 hit, 1 left. Nothing doing for Chicago. Flanagan threw 5. Has an 8-3 lead. Here's Spillner, second inning of work. He's already given up 2 runs. If he gives up a third, he'll be fatigued. Here's Mike Young. 6:85 in play. And a grounder to short. Handled by Dubinsky, and there's 1 away. Here's Ripken. 2 for 3 so far. 8:26, tough pitch. And down on strikes is Cal. So 2 quick outs here for Spillner. He likes coming into a fresh inning more than the middle of an inning. And here's Murray. 9:03, tough pitch. And Murray down on strikes. So Spillner settles in. Gets a 1-2-3 inning. I don't like that 0. Gonna fix it. We head to the bottom of the 6th in game 1 of 4. Flanagan coming out. Will probably be his last inning. In fact, by payoff pitch, he'd be fatigued after this inning no matter what. So here's Pashuric, 7:19, and I tend to stick to those. Pashuric down on strikes for the first out here in the 6th. Trying to play a little quick, so I want to get all 4 games on stream today. 5:50 in play. Grounded down to third. Fielded by Rayford, and that's not Rayford, he's the catcher. Sorry, that'd be weird. He ran all the way down to third base. Fielded by Gross, and that's the second out. Here's Lazinski. 7:85, tough pitch. This one's grounded to Ripken. And that'll do it for Flanagan. But Flanagan goes 6. And has a chance to win it. Let's check his line. Well, he was perfect through 3. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 hits. 3 runs. Let's see if they're earned. A walk, a single, so it should be first and second. They should be loaded. There's a base hit. That would have been 1 run. That would have been a second run. And that would have been the 3rd out? No, it wouldn't have been the 3rd out because the E5 only let them get extra bases. That would have loaded them. So 2 earned runs by my count. Walks and strikeouts. 0-1, 1-1, 1-2. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. No hit, no wild pitches. That's the line on Flanagan for today. How you doing, Mike? Everything good? Decided to get back into this project. Looks like just in time for the upcoming All-Star break, and I'm hoping we can get an All-Star game on stream. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? I'd like, I don't care who streams it. Doesn't have to be me. It shouldn't be me. I've barely been involved in a project for the last 6 months or so. If Kevin Thomas wants it, he should probably be doing it. Maybe Joe Cards, or maybe Joe and Dave want to do it. I don't know. I think we should definitely stream an All-Star game, though, and we should get some community voting. So we're going to the 7th. And I'm confused. Hold on. That's why I'm confused, because I was thinking Baines was on Baltimore. So Spiller will come out for his 3rd inning of work. He's going to face Gross. 7-12, patient, and that's a base on balls. Wayne Gross, an interesting year. 5 at-bats versus lefties, 337 at-bats, and 22 homers versus righties. So he does not bat against lefties unless he absolutely has to. Now, if they put in a lefty here, we might leave him in. So here's Singleton, runner on, 698. In play, lofted to left. Played by the left fielder Kittle. There's one down. 1099 wheelhouse, but that 99 is a pretty high number, and that's another loft to left. Easy play, second out. How about a 469 in play? Grounded down a second. Handled by Fletcher, and that's the inning. And that'll be it for Spillner. So Spillner goes 2 2/3. 1, 2, 3. 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned, a homer. 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. And I don't care how many batters he faced. So Baines coming up for the White Sox. We know the new pitcher for Baltimore. It's going to be Underwood, I think. I'm going to go Underwood. So Underwood comes in. He's a lefty. Baines also a lefty, so slight advantage to the pitcher here. 784, patient. This one's lofted to center. 1 away. Shelby takes it in. Here's Mark Hill. 712, patient, and that's a base on balls to Hill. No auto steal with a 5-run lead. It's 8-3 if you're wondering. 778, patient for Underwood. Scott Fletcher will loft this one to center where Shelby takes it in for the second out. And the shortstop Davinsky up with 1 on. With a 9-0-3 tough pitch, and down on strikes is Davinsky. Well, that's the inning here in the 7th. We have a new pitcher for Chicago. It's going to be Salome Barojas. Barojas for Chicago. And he'll probably go 2, which is all they need. So Dower to lead off the 8th. 11:01 ballpark. That's a wheelhouse chance for Dower. 09 is going to be into the gap for a double. Am I doing this right? Hold on. Shouldn't be Baltimore. It was a ballpark chance. It's an 09 wheelhouse chance for Rayford, so it's still a double. Forgot to move the card because of the pitching change. So Rayford's on at second to lead off the inning here in the 8th. Baltimore with a 5-run lead. 964, patient. Right-handed, grounder to second. That'll move the runner over. So runner on third, 1 out here is Mike Young. 797, that's a tough pitch. Lofted to left field. Is that going to be a sac fly? Let's see what Rayford's speed is. It's not. Rayford's pretty slow. He's a 5. So 2 outs here. Rayford holding still on third. Doesn't test the arm of Kittle. He probably doesn't have a great arm, but here's Ripken with an RBI chance. 737, tough pitch. And a line drive up the middle for Cal Ripken, and he cashes it in. Rayford scores to make it 9-3. And here's Eddie Murray. He's 0 for 4 today, I believe. 11-22. Ballpark chance for Murray. Wheelhouse for Eddie. 44 is the wheelhouse, and that is high and far and gone to dead center field. Murray just took a low hanger and clobbered it into the seats for a 2-run home run. And Baroas is actually fatigued already on the 3 runs. They're going to say, Salome, so long. Sayonara, Salome. So Barojas goes 2/3. 3 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, no walks, no strikeouts. We're going to have a 4th pitcher. And they're going to go to Augusto against the lefty. And with a huge lead, Gross is actually going to bat against the left-hander. 443, tough pitch, and down on strikes is Gross against the left-hander. He doesn't do that well, and he doesn't see many of them. So, 3 more runs. It's 11-3. Baltimore as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Underwood here against Stegman, his second inning of work. 6-22, that's a tough pitch. And Stegman is down on strikes. Here's Vance Law. 6-28, tough pitch. Down on strikes is Law. That's 2 in a row. And Pashorik, 9-04, another tough pitch. He strikes out the side. And that's the end of his outing, by the way. So Pashorik is done. Underwood does 2 innings for Baltimore. And he gives up a walk and 4 Ks. No hits, no earned runs, 1 walk and 4 Ks. Augusto comes out to face the Orioles in the 9th. It's Singleton. 8-76. That's a tough pitch. This one's lofted to center. 1 away. Renicky. 6-57. That's patient. And Renicky draws a base on balls. His 3rd time on base today. Gary with a good eye. Here's Dower. Dower's 0 for 4. 6-47. Patient. A line drive right at the shortstop for the 2nd out. Nice catch by Dubinsky, and it's 2 away. Here's Rayford. 6-28. Patient. And that's a base hit. It'll get down. On his way to 3rd is Renicky. So 1st and 3rd, 2 down. Here's Shelby. Shelby has a hit in 5 attempts. 8-82, tough pitch. And this one's grounded to short. Should be no problem. And they get Shelby by half a step. So no runs here in the 9th. And somebody will come out and do some mop-up for Baltimore. Let's see. I'm going to give Bill Swaggerty a little bit of work. Swaggerty. He's got an 8-run lead to work with, and he'll face Kittle, Luzinski, and Baines. 5-44 in play, and this one is grounded to 1st. Fielded by Murray, unassisted, 1 down. Here's Luzinski, 7 rare play. Are we going to do rare play right now? No. 7-62 in play. Fly ball to right. 2 down. I like rare plays when the game is interesting. The game's not interesting right now. 7-14. It's a single for Baines to keep the game alive. Chicago down to their final out. They just need an 8-run homer from Mark Hill. And they'll tie it up. 9-71 in play. That's a ground ball to 2nd, and that will do it. So we will top this one off. It's a final score of 2, 5, 8, 11 runs for Baltimore and 3 for Chicago. Seaver with the loss. Flanagan with the win. Swaggerty goes an inning. Gives up 1 hit and no runs, no earned runs. No walks and no Ks. Agosto goes 1 1/3, a hit, a walk, and a K. And that's how this one breaks out, folks. We'll move right on to game number 2. We'll get these teams ready to go. So I do some card management. See if there's changes to the lineups. I know the change to the starting pitcher. It's going to be Dennis Martinez in game number 2 for Baltimore. He's 3-5, a 5.45 in the project. And it's going to be Shelby, Young, Ripken, Murray, Gross, Singleton, Renicky, Dower, and the only change, Rayford's out at catcher and Dempsey's in. So Rayford's out and Dempsey's in. For Chicago, it's going to be Rich Dotson. Dotson 7-5, a 3.40 ERA in the project so far. And it's going to start things off with, looks like Rudy Law. Rudy Law is new to the lineup. So it's Law, Pashurik. Oh, Baines moves up against the right-hander. Baines. Is Walker here? Nope, Walker's new to the lineup. Let's just double check. Law, Pashurik, Baines, Walker. We've got Kittle. Mike Squires is coming into play today. Loading it with lefties, looks like, for the most part. Fletcher, Skinner, and Cruz. So a lot of changes for the White Sox. Just double check that in a second. I like to keep the guys who are used most often on top. So when I pick reserves, I tend to go for the guys who are used most often. Tends to help me keep my usage in line. Although for this project, we're not exactly going strict usage, but still, I'd like to try to be accurate. Let me just make sure I got it. Law, Pashurik, Baines, Walker, Kittle, Squires, Fletcher, Skinner, and Cruz. All right. We're ready to rumble. So Martinez versus Dotson. It's Dotson coming to the mound. Move this sucker back over. As mentioned, Dotson, 7-5, 3.40 in the project. The only change to the lineup was Dempsey at catcher, batting ninth for Baltimore, 244, 6, and 24. Changes for Chicago. We have Rudy Law in center field leading off, 250, 1 homer, 10 RBIs. Greg Walker comes in as the designated hitter. He's 289, 10, and 31. Mike Squires will play third, batting even 300 with no homers and 1 ribby. Joel Skinner at catcher, 220, 0, and 2. And Julio Cruz playing second, 180, 0, and 15. Let's get it started, baby. It's Dotson, the righty. Anybody have any extra strikeouts or anything? No. Martinez, a big wild pitch range, 30 to 34. So here's Shelby to lead things off in game number 2. 786, that's a tough pitch. Oh, we've got an interesting one here. Patient out L3 for Dotson, which means if it's not a walk, it's a line out to the first baseman. Very interesting. 786 means tough. And grounder to short. Handled by Fletcher, and Shelby is retired for the first out. Young, 707. Tough pitch, and down on strikes is Mike Young for the second out. And here's Ripken, 890. Patient, but the 90 is a grounder to short. And a 1-2-3 inning for Dotson. Ripken will take his place behind. Here's Martinez. El Presidente against Rudy Law. 493. Ballpark. 93 is actually just outside the wheelhouse range of 92, so this will be an in-play result. 81 against the righty fly ball to center. Shelby corrals it, one away. Here's Peshorek. 734. Patient. And this will be into the gap for a two-base hit for Peshorek. Tom's auto steal is a 2. Not a lot of stealers here. And here's Baines with a runner on second, 1 out. That's a 527. Wheelhouse, that's going to be Martinez's problem. 26 homers and 147 at bats. 141 innings, I mean. And Wheelhouse 27. Harold Baines gets a hold of this one, drives it to right field, and that is a 2-run blast. A line drive, piss missile for Harold Baines. And Chicago this time taking the 2-0 lead. Reversing the fortunes of the previous game thus far. Here's Greg Walker, the designated hitter. Didn't play in game 1. 11-16, defense check. Going to be range shortstop for Ripken. And 15 is going to be a base hit. Pretty sure. Yep, 23 is the lowest range, so base hit. 9 against the shortstop, a single for Walker. That'll raise his average a little bit. Auto steals a 3, a 5 doesn't do it. Here's Ronnie Kittle, the left fielder. 534, another wheelhouse, and this one's gone. El Presidente with that 5 wheelhouse has given up 2 2-run homers here in the 4th. And boy, oh boy. It's 4-0 Chicago before we've gotten out of the first inning. I think I said the 4th. I meant the 1st. Here's Mike Squires. They loaded up on lefties for a reason. 7 is Patient. 99. Fly ball to right. This one will stay in the park. And Squires is retired. As Mike Young loves it. Got Fletcher with 2 outs. It's a 444. Ballpark. Another wheelhouse chance. Uh-oh. Fletcher doesn't have a lot of power. And this one's a 90. That's just going to be grounded hard to short. Ripken in time, but 4 quick runs on 2 2-run homers for Chicago. We'll go to the second. Dotson with a nice lead to work with. Nice lead, mister. Here's Murray, Gross, and Singleton. How about a 442? Ballpark again. 42 is a wheelhouse chance for Murray. 72 against the righty. A base hit for Eddie Murray. Auto steal is a very narrow 2. Nothing doing. Here's Wayne Gross, who kills right-handed pitching. Well, at least for his power. He only hit 220, but he hit 22 homers in half a season against righties. 760 is tough. Ground ball shortstop could be 2. It's not going to be. It's going to be a 6-4 fielder's choice. Gross is on. Stealing's 2F, but he still has a chance. Doesn't do it. Here's Kenny Singleton. 699. Patient. That's going to be a line drive to the to the first baseman for the second out. Since it's not a walk. 2. How about an in-play 34? Pops this one up on the infield, corralled by the first baseman, and that's the inning. Go to the bottom of the second. It's DeMart, who's been pitching batting practice thus far against Skinner. 8:36 in play. This one's going to be popped up on the infield. Ripken by the bag for the first out. Well, that's going to slow the game down. I just threw the die. Fortunately, it didn't go far. Pardon me. Oh, it went just far enough, I'll tell you that. It's on the other side of several things. As you enjoy the back of my neck. Where are we? Julio Cruz with a 5-0-0. We're going to have the rare play this time. 5 is a wheelhouse rare play. 38. Weather takes a turn. We're going to ignore that. So 35 on the wheelhouse. A single for Cruz. I'm not going to play the weather game. We don't have rainouts here. Cruz auto steal is a 4. Nothing doing. Here's Rudy Law. One run on first, one down. 5-7. Another wheelhouse. Jesus. This one's just lofted to center, though, for the second out. Those 5s are coming up on Martinez right now. How about a 7-28? Patient. That's a base on balls. Cruz down to second. So Pashuric on first, Cruz on second. Here's Harold Baines, who homered his first time up. That's a 7.99. And that'll be lofted to right field, third out of the inning. So Martinez keeps it in the ballpark, and we'll go to the third. 4-0 Chicago. It'll be Dower. 8-03. Patient, that's a base on balls. Dower finds himself on. Doesn't steal much, and won't tear. And here's Dempsey with occasional power. 5-18 in play, and that'll be a base hit. So single for Dempsey, first and second with nobody out. Here's Shelby. So I keep extra dice on the table. It's a good plan, Mike. I should really use a cup or something, but 8-24, Patient. And this will get into the gap. Dower's going to score. Dempsey over to third, and pulling up at second is Shelby with a RBI double, and the Baltimore Orioles are on the board. It's 4-1 here in the third. Mike Young, 8-03, Patient, and another base on balls. So Dotson, not sharp right now. Bases are loaded for Ripken with one out. Pardon me, with no outs. Bases loaded, nobody out. How about a 7.69? Tough pitch. Grounded to second. And this is going to be 2. It's 4-6-3. Double play. Runner over to third, and a runner scores. So Ripken doesn't get an RBI, but the Orioles get another run. So runner on third now with 2 down for Eddie Murray. The effervescent RBI machine. That's a 9-17. Never mind, he strikes out. So 2 down. We're going to keep it moving. Pardon me. 2 runs in, 4-2 Chicago as we go to the bottom of the third. Can Martinez just not roll any more 5s? He might stay in this game. 460, he's trying. That's a ballpark, though. And against the lefty, that's a wheelhouse. 22. Greg Walker with the 3rd home run of the day for the White Sox, and it's now 5-2. For Walker, his 11th of the season. And here's Martinez, 7.49, Patient, and a base hit for Kittle. He's not stealing. Here's Squires, 9.67, tough pitch, and this one's on the ground. Won't be 2, it'll be 1, 6-4. Squires to first on the fielder's choice. He occasionally steals. He's an auto steal 4. Nothing doing. Fletcher. Uh-oh, there's the 5. 69. That's too high. Grounded to second. And that'll be the 3rd out. But the Walker homer makes it 5-2. We'll head to the 4th inning. Dotson feeling lucky today. Facing Gross. How about another 5? But this guy is in play, 16. That's a base hit for Gross. He'll steal the occasional base. Close but no cigar. And we'll go to Singleton, who's 0 for 1. Ballpark, 09. Singleton batting left. There's a wheelhouse, 89. Ground ball shortstop. And that's going to be a double play, the 6-4-3 variety. So Singleton with the GDP. There's 2 outs now. Here's Renicky. 462. Another ballpark. Jesus. 62 versus righties. No, this will be an in play. But that'll get down for a base hit. And around first on his way to second is Renicky. The throw's cut off. And Renicky in at second with a double. You need Snake Eyes to get a steal here at third, and he's not going to do it. Here's Dotson to Dower. Dower walked and scored a run. That's a 7:58 tough pitch and lofted to right for the third out. So nothing doing. Still 6-2. 5-2? 5-2, pardon me. 6-2, Martinez will be out. And here's Joel Skinner. 779, patient. This one's lofted to center. 1 away. Not a good season for Martinez in real life. 6-9, 502. Here's Cruz. How about a 488 ballpark again? He's batting left. That's a wheelhouse, but Cruz doesn't have much of a wheelhouse. 56 lofts this one to right for the second out. Here's Rudy Law. Go Pale Hose. They're winning right now. 3 long balls are telling the tale today against Dennis Martinez. 10-67. That's a tough pitch. And this one's grounded to short. Ripken will handle. It's a 1-2-3 inning at last for Dennis Martinez. We'll head to the 5th. I need a sip of this lovely seltzer. Pull this down just a little bit. I tend to ride things. I guess I actually probably pushed it up when I was going for that die. So Dotson will face 9-1-2. Here's Dempsey, an 11 tough pitch. 16. Dempsey down on strikes for the first out here in the 5th. How about a 9-96? Another tough pitch. This one's off to the left. No problem. Second out. Shelby now 1 for 3. Here is Young 0 for 1 with a walk. There's that 5. Different guy. In play 85. That should be no problem. Grounder to short. And Young is retired. A 1-2-3 for Dotson. Go to the bottom of the 5th. It's going to be Dennis Martinez's last inning no matter what. He's a 6 fatigue and payoff pitch, which means he's given up more than 3 runs. He'll be fatigued in the 6th regardless of what he does here. 8-27 in play. And that's a base hit for Paciorek. His 3rd time on base today. He still can't find a steal, though. Here's Baines, 1 for 2 with his home run today. That's a 308 in play, and that's going to be trouble. This one's going to get down and bounce around in left center field. On his way to third, and rounding third is Paciorek. He will score. Around second is Baines. The throw comes in. It's offline. Harold Baines with a triple, and that's going to be it for Dennis Martinez, as that's the 6th run. Harold Baines, of all people, with an RBI triple. So he's got a homer and a triple today. And Martinez will hit the showers. You can't close the book on him yet. He owns Baines at third, but it's going to be. Do they have any long relief? Jeez, it's still early. We're going to go to Tippy Martinez way earlier than they like to. So he'll come in and pitch the 5th and probably the 6th. And then they're going to have to figure it out depending on the score. So Baines at third. Here's Greg Walker. It's a 7:52 tough pitch. And that's a base hit. And he immediately cashes in the run. Line drive single through the right side for Walker. That's going to make it 5, 6, 7-2. We're out of auto steal territory in my book. And we're on to Ron Kittle, the right-hander. That does close the book on Dennis Martinez, though, so he goes 4. I know he gives up 7 runs. I don't know how many are earned. One, all of them. How many hits? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 hits in 4 innings for Martinez. Walks and strikeouts. We're looking at one walk, no Ks. So not a good day for Martinez. So Walker on first. Here's Kittle. 10-29. Ballpark again. That'll be a wheelhouse chance for Kittle. And when Ron Kittle gets a wheelhouse chance, you can almost always forget about it. And against the lefty, forget it. Another homer for the Sox. That's their 4th on the day. Another 2-run shot. That's their 3rd of those. And it's a lot to not much right now. That'll bring up Squires against Martinez. How about an 898? In play, lofted to right, and there's finally an out here in the 5th. How about a little Scott Fletcher action? It's 5. Rare play, 48. So patient, 48. Batter hit by Titch and charges mound. Both teams spill onto the field. Next hit by pitch. A lot of pushing and shoving. So with the score out of hand, Martinez plunks Fletcher. And the dugout's empty, but when order is restored, no punches are thrown, and Fletcher's on at first. For Joel Skinner. 1 out. How about a 12? That's a wheelhouse. My goodness, they're trying for homers today, but this is an 86. That'll be a 6-3, and Fletcher will move to second. And that brings up Julio Cruz with 2 outs now. And 560. Patient. That's a base hit for Cruz. And that'll get another run in, and Martinez is now fatigued. Holy Jesus. They're running out of dudes to throw out there. We're going to go back to Swaggerty, who might take things the rest of the way. Despite having pitched yesterday, it would make him ineligible for tomorrow. Bullpen's getting abused here in a 4-game series. We're only in game 2. So runner on first for Rudy Law with 2 down. Swaggerty's in. It's a 978 in play. And this one's lofted to center. And that'll do it for the inning. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big runs, and it's now 10-2. So 2 games that have just gotten out of hand. One for Baltimore in game 1, and now for the White Sox in game 2. And Dotson's got to be feeling pretty good. He's got an 8-run lead to work with. Here's Ripken. 862. Patient. Well, hold your horses. It's a line drive. Base hit for Ripken. And if they get going, the heart of this Orioles order can mash. 736. Tough pitch. And a line drive. Through the right side for Murray. Fights off a really, really good pitch by Dotson. Announced first and second with 2 outs for Gross. 998. Tough pitch. Lofted to right. No problem for Baines. There's 1. Here's Singleton. 1103. Tough pitch. Down on strikes is Kenny. That's 2 outs. So Dotson getting straightened out here with runners on. Seems like he's pitching better from the stretch. And here's Renicky. 10-16 in play. And that's a base hit. That'll get a run in. Ripken will score. Murray over to third. Dotson not fatigued yet. 10-3. First and third, 2 down for Dower. 964. Tough pitch. Grounded to second, and he will handle it. 4 to third out. But the Orioles chipping away. They get a run. Swaggerty coming out for his second inning of work here in the 6th. Against Pashurik. Pashurik to lead things off. 5-49. That 5 has come up a lot today. In play for Swaggerty. And the 49 is a ground ball down to first. Where it'll be handled by Murray himself. 1 away. Here's Baines. 5-51. Another in play. And this one is another grounder to first. This time flips to Swaggerty for the out. Here's Walker. Another 5, another 11. That's a base hit for Greg Walker. His 4th hit of the day. He's 4 for 4. He enjoyed the day off yesterday, and he came in ready to swing. And here's Kittle, who's got 2 homers today. Another 5. Holy mackerel, but a 49. This one's a grounder down to third. Handled by Gross, and over to first in time to retire Kittle. So nothing doing. Swaggerty doing by far the best of any of the Orioles pitchers so far. And Dotson comes out for the 7th to face Dempsey, followed by Shelby and Young. 850, a patient. Yeah, line drive, base hit up the middle for Dempsey. He's on with a leadoff single, and here's John Shelby. If I can pick up these dice. An 1179, tough pitch. Fly ball to center, 1 away. .419, ballpark, wheelhouse chance for Young. 97 is too much die roll. And instead he's got a fly ball to deep left on the warning track for the second out. Tough pitch, 43. And Ripken fights this one off. That'll be a single. Dempsey over to third. So a 2-out single for Ripken. It's first and third. And here's Murray. He's 2 for 3 today. 895. Patient. And lofted to left for the third out. Nothing doing. I think Dotson has gone the distance for him today. He'd be fatigued in the 8th if you're wondering. So Dotson's going to be done. Swaggerty coming out for his 3rd inning of work. 3rd inning of work. It's hard to speak. And he'll see Squires, Fletcher, and Skinner. It's 10-7 Chicago here, bottom of the 7th. That's going to be an 860 patient. Fly ball to left, 1 away for Squires. How about a 492? That's ballpark. Going to be an in play. Unless he's lefty, he's not. 63 will be grounded to second for the second out. Swaggerty will be done after this inning no matter what. 10-14. And he strikes him out. Skinner down on strike. Swaggerty gets his work in and will take tomorrow off regardless of what the hell happens. And we will have some mop-up for Chicago. It's going to be Al Jones coming in. Al Jones. So here is Wayne Gross. Lead things off for the Orioles in the 8th. 5 again. Patient 51. And draws a walk. Does Gross. That Wayne Gross card is one of the more interesting cards I've seen in fast pitch. Really skewed for the right-handers. That is a 1286 defense check. We haven't had one all day, I don't think. Error on the shortstop. 73. Only if he's a 1. Who's the shortstop for Chicago? It's Fletcher. He's an E4, so no error. So instead, it's going to be an A or a B. Hold on, could have a double play here. Nope, he's a C. That's going to be 6-4 fielder's choice. Singleton reaches on the fielder's choice. 1 away. Here's Renicky. 12 defense check. Okay, now the defense checks are coming fast and furious. Possible error on the first baseman. 30. Unless he's a 5. Pashorik is a 3, so it's going to be an E3. Let's see. 2 base error. So Pashorik tries to flip it to Jones covering and throws it away. So he'll end up at second. Redicky ends up at second. Singleton ends up at third with 1 out. And here's Dower. 431. That is a wild pitch, and the run will score. So wait a minute. It's now 10-4. Runner on third with 1 out, and Dower still at bat. 8:36. That's not a wild pitch. Thank goodness, says Chicago. And this one's popped up on the infield, handled by the third baseman Squires for the second out. Here's Dempsey. 8:96. Tough pitch, and this one's lofted to left, and that'll do it. So they get a run here in the 8th. It's 10-4. We'll have a new pitcher for the Orioles. Looks like they're going to go Sammy Stewart, just to keep the bullpen as fresh as possible. Stewart didn't work yesterday. Anybody else will have to rest tomorrow, so they're going to give Stewart a little bit of work here and hope their starting pitcher shows up big time tomorrow. It's Julio Cruz leading off the 8th. 7:72. That's going to be fly ball to center for the first out. 10:27. That's a walk. A walk to Law, his first time on today. And here's Pashorek, who's got 2 base hits and 3 tries and a walk. That's a 10:52 patient. Base hit. So it's going to be first and second now for Harold Baines. That's a 5. It's going to be patient 59. And that's a base hit. So a walk and 2 hits. The bases are now loaded for Greg Walker, and God help us if we roll a 2 or an 11. How about a 3? Defense check 0-1. Range on the pitcher. He's a C fielder. 0-9. It's going to be a base hit, folks. A seeing eye single up the middle, and a run will score. Walker with his 3rd RBI of the day, and he is 5 for 5. Greg Walker is. And a run is in against Stewart. He ain't coming out of this game no matter what happens. Well, there's a wheelhouse. 57. Oh my God. Ron Kittle with his 3rd home run of the day. Holy mackerel. That's a grand slam homer for Ronnie Kittle. Stewart can only shake his head. He's out there hurling batting practice. 4 RBIs for Kittle, and it is a lot to a not much Chicago. I'm tempted to bring in a emergency pitcher. What the hell's the damn score? It's 10. It's now 15-4. Yeah, they're going to pull Stewart. And we're going to see something I haven't seen yet in payoff pitch, folks. Despite rolling probably about 1,000 games, we're going to see an emergency pitcher. Who are they going to bring in to pitch? It's going to be Floyd Rayford. Floyd Rayford will be our pitcher. I don't even know where to put him. So we'll grab the emergency pitcher. Kittle with a monster game, by the way, folks. We'll take a look at that in a second. So there's our emergency pitcher card. That's what happens when we have a ridiculous lead and we have to bring in a position player to pitch. So it's Floyd Rayford on the mound.
You hungry, hon?
Yeah, I could eat after this game.
How much longer?
Depends on how many more home runs Ron Kittle wants to hit, but probably 5 minutes or less. I'm in the bottom of the 8th in a not close game. So Ron Kittle is 4 for 5 with a single, 3 homers, and 8 RBIs today, folks. 3 homers and 8 RBIs. And if you're wondering, the White Sox have hit 1, 2, 3, 4. That's their 5th homer today. And now with 1 out, In the bottom of the 8th, Mike Squires will face Floyd Rayford, who I believe actually pitched a little. I'd have to look it up, but for some reason, I feel like he pitched at some point in his major league career. 861. Patient. And he gets an out. He's going to get a grounder to Ripken from Squires. And there's 2 down. And here's Scott Fletcher. This emergency pitcher card might be better than everybody else we've had in today. Now he makes a tough pitch, 95, and Rayford is going to get through it. Well, I don't know why I wrote that down there. Rayford's going to come in and get... Oh, wait, he got Squires, and now he got Fletcher. Oh, that's where the inning started. Jesus. I got confused. So Rayford comes in and gets 2 quick outs with 5 runs score, 4 of them on the Kittle grand slam. I got confused, man. Crazy game by Kittle. I haven't had a 3-homer game in a while. And Al Jones comes out with a huge friggin' lead now. He'll face the top of the order, but come on, folks. It's elementary. That was a 5, so 572. Patient pitch by Jones. This one's lofted to center for the first out. Gonna break after this game for some lunch. 782. How about a tough pitch by Jones? And that is another lofted to center for the second out. Jones is letting them hitting it, but they're hitting it to the biggest part of the ballpark, and that's the goal, folks. And here's Ripken, who's got 2 base hits in 4 tries. 690. That's a tough pitch, and this one's grounded to short. Be handled by Fletcher over to first, and that's the ball game. So the Orioles win the first one, and Ron Kittle wins the second one pretty much single-handedly. 2, 3, 4 runs for Baltimore, and it's 4, 5, 10, 15 for Chicago. 8 of them driven in by Ronnie Kittle. That's insane. I'm going to go grab some lunch. Thank you, Mike, for hanging out. Thanks, everybody else, for tuning in to this return to the 84 the 84 Community Baseball Project, which is approaching the All-Star game. We're going to have to figure out how to pick some All-Star teams very soon and hopefully get somebody to stream the game. But here we are, 15-4 in the game 2 of this 4-game series. We'll be back later. It was 11-3 Baltimore in the first one, 15-4 Chicago in the second one. We're probably going to have a pitcher's duel next one. Let's take a look ahead. I would bet on it, folks. We've got a good pitcher's matchup coming up. It's Storm Davis in the project for Baltimore, 7-6, 2.71. He'll be facing Britt Burns, 5-6, 3.05. So 2 guys who've been pitching well this season in the 84 Community Project will be back on later. And if you want to look ahead to Game 4, because we'll do 2 again, it's going to be Mike Boddicker, 8-4 so far, 3.56, versus Lamar Hoyt, the innings eater for the White Sox, 4-10. Is he the first guy to lose 10? He might be. 4.39. So that's the next 2 we've got up for you. But for now, my name is Joe. This is JC Sports Replays. If you want to hit the like button or the subscribe button, it really helps me out. I'm at 299 subs on my way to 500. Let's hope. Where I can monetize, ladies and gentlemen. Trying to get some streams back online. So, again, my name is Joe. This is JC Sports Replays. Check out the project on Facebook, 84 Community Replay Project. By myself, Kevin Thomas, and Joe Cards. Mostly those other 2 guys. I'm really just a player at this point, but it's been fun. We'll see you next time. And as always, I don't know how to stop the stream, man. See ya.